Hi everyone, welcome to Cheltenham Chart 14, and in today's episode of Cheltenham Chart we'll talk about a couple of horses who enhanced their Cheltenham claims last week. There wasn't many, and we'll talk about these bomb-proof favourites where I'm going to play devil's advocate on them a little bit, and then we'll talk about the videos in general, the bets, the selections put up in the mid-season, and a couple of other things. So getting straight on, I was impressed with Rosie's Hollow. She beat Royal Kahala and Garlouis. It was a decent performance. It was a performance I sort of thought was coming, yet I didn't back her. But I put her up as an eye catcher twice, Rosie's Hollow. I liked her debut when she was behind Delvino. I thought she was given a very easy ride. And then I loved her win in a maiden hurdle. So for me, she was always a horse on the radar, and she was 33 to 1 before she ran, and she's now into sevens. I would have her, Hook Up, and Look the Glancing Queen as the three that I'd be most interested in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, but having lost on the race on Delvino, I'm loath to go in again in that race. I think Delvino, I don't know if she's been lined up for something. It was a strange decision to go from the front. Her price went out all day. She's a horse that's either regressing or there is some sort of plot with her. Ellie May was very impressive, I thought. But it was 2 miles. That's 2 quick runs for her. She's 3 to 1 now for the Mare's Chase, which looks the weakest race I can see at the festival. It looks an absolutely terrible race, and I would love Dame de Company to go here. I know probably I'm talking through my pocket, but I really don't think this is a good race. And Ellie May, 3 to 1 could even be value. I thought Shattered Love ran a good race in second, and she'll appreciate the extra half mile. So she's no forlorn chance in Shattered Love at 12 to 1. So that was the only 2 that ran. So I'm going to go on to playing the devil's advocate a little bit here, and a lot of people may not like the things that or the negatives I put up, but I mean I will go on to. I'm not saying these horses can't win, and I actually think most of them will put up very bold shows at Cheltenham. But 6 of them are coming from Ireland, so they've got a ferry ride to negotiate before they even get to Cheltenham. Now, we don't know what the weather will be like for that ferry ride. It could be flat calm and it could be 5 metre seas. We don't know, but I think 5 metre seas would probably affect quite a few horses in the lorries as they go across. So you have that sort of worry with 6 of them, and then you've got the different stable for the night, possibly a different lass or lad looking after them for the night. Anything could upset a horse. You've also got to negotiate 4 more weeks before you get to the festival without injury. And is it worth putting these horses into a big accumulator? So there's 7 of them. And I'm actually going to go from the biggest price to the lowest price. And of course it gets progressively more difficult as you try to find negatives against these horses or put things up that could affect their performance. So I was involved in a bit of a bun fight with Simon Rowlands. It was stupid of me because of nobody, and he probably thought because I'd watched Kilcrat win at Leopardstown that I was just one of these mad Panthers that probably hadn't even seen his win at Navan. But anyway, I didn't like what he said about Kilcrat's performance, about the pace collapse, etc., because at the time I didn't know that he'd backed Sir Gerhard and was a big fan. And if I'd realised that, I wouldn't even have bothered. But because I didn't like the crabbing of Kilcrat's performance, and of course the football fan came out in me, and I wanted to fight my horse's corner where I should have just shut up. But anyway, what are the negatives to Kilcrat? Well, clearly Sir Gerhard is a very good horse. I've never ever thought anything different. I thought his 2 wins have been good this season. Very solid. He's very well thought of. But they're not the only 2 horses in the race. Bumper horses especially, a lot of them come on for their debuts, a lot more than you would think. A lot of them may progress a lot for slightly better ground. And there is no guarantee that the race is between Sir Gerhard and Kilcrat. And because of the pressure on myself, the pressure I put on myself, I have thought all week about putting a bet up on Sir Gerhard, a bigger bet, just to ensure a profit. Now, I haven't done that, but I think in a way I'm glad I haven't, because I think there's still the potential for a shock in the bumper. But the small negatives against Kilcrack are Sir Gerhard's a very good rival. Bumper horses progress at different rates, and there could be one in the park that could beat him. It'll be a bigger field. He's never been to Cheltenham. He's still got to take all that rigmarole of the track, of the journey, different stable, etc. Of course, there's enough negatives. I've laid off myself for my stake. I'm not stupid as a gambler. I mean, I've taken my stake back. I'm not going to bet a horse at 14 to 1 and then just leave it all in when his horse is sitting at 7 to 4. I can take my stake back, have free 12 to 1 on a big bet. 12 to 1's a good price. And I haven't lost if it loses. So, yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. Of course, Kilcrack can be beaten, though. Let's get on to Concertista. Can Concertista get beaten? Of course she can get beaten. Benny Deju could run in this race. Roxanne has improved this season. She's no mag, and we don't know Concertista's as good as Honeysuckle and Benny Deju, so the 6 length they beat Roxana last season could be diminished. It's just, Benny could run in this race. It's just too big a risk, even though Concertista's been on the track and taken the travel before. You can't be sure. If Benny ran in this race, all of a sudden Concertista would go out from 11-8 to 2 to 1. So of course there's negatives on Concertista. The next one's Appreciate It. Now there's negatives here too. He looked brilliant in the bumper last season at Leopardstown, and he got beaten by Fernie Hollow, who was a brilliant horse, but he still lost at Cheltenham. He was beaten for speed. Bally Adam could improve for better ground. So, you know, even though he has to brush up his champion, he's no mag. Blue Lord could run better at Cheltenham, got a bit too far back last time out. The British horse Metier's been absolutely dismissed by everybody. I mean, it's almost as if he's not in the field to a lot of people. I know ratings don't mean much, but he's rated just about the same as Appreciate It. He's no mag. Harry Fry's no mag. And that horse has got to have a chance. So just throwing Appreciate It into an accumulator or a treble or a fourfold isn't really for me, especially when I know that he likes the deep ground and he looks a stayer. So the faster it is, the more difficult it's going to be for him to win. I forgot to say that last season there was 6 odds on shots went to Cheltenham and 5 got beaten in the graded races, so that's another negative. I mean, how many people thought Paisley Park would just turn up to win the stairs last season? How many people thought Tiger Roll was a certainty? What about Deffy when he got beaten at 2 to 5 after Chacun Pour Soi and Altior came out? I mean, there's your proof that there's no certs at Cheltenham. So moving on to the rest of these favourites. So who have we got next? Let's take Chacun Pour Soi. Now, he absolutely looks a certainty for the champion chase, but he's got to take the boat ride. He's got to get to the stables. He's done that before, but he's never run on the track because he stood in the stone last year. That's another possibility. But he's never run on the track. He's not run on, well, not many downhill fences like Cheltenham has. Could Altior come back to form? How good is Nube Negra? Put the kettle on, run fabulous races at Cheltenham and has been kept for the champion chase, kept fresh. I know Chacun Pour Soi's beaten her at Leopardstown, but all these factors, even money into an accumulator with a month to go, is not really for me. Then we've got Shiskin. You only have to say one word and you can dismiss Shiskin as an even shot in an accumulator with Energumene, who's actually rated higher than Shiskin, but Time Firm in their wisdom have actually just increased Shiskin's rating because they don't want Energumene ahead of him, which is nuts. But so Energumene is a huge danger to Shiskin. He'd be a huge danger in Envoy Allen if he switched, but he's a huge danger to Shiskin. And also, Nicky's not in the best of form, so even money into an accumulator at this stage, no, not for me. Monkfish is hard to crab. He's won at the track. He's beaten latest exhibition 3 times. But his latest exhibition is Biggest Danger. Could Eclat de Rear could be a different kettle of fish. He's not been off the bridle. He jumps beautifully, Eclat de Rear. And he could come here and be something special as well. We just don't know at the moment how good he is. The big breakaways looked very average this season, in a season where contenders horses have run really poorly so far. But if that yard started firing, and when the yards start firing, horses run better. Now, if the big breakaway starts to run better, he's not going to put so much emphasis on his jumping. He could run a huge race if the stable are in form. That would mean that Monkfish would have 2 serious rivals, and at 4 to 5, 4 weeks out, it's not for me, but not as in, I think he'll win if someone put a gun to my head, but would I buck him in a 4-fold with my money? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't buck him at 4 to 5 this far out. I still do think that Eclat de Rear could be a good horse and that the big breakaway could come back. And plus there's the other problems as well. Paul Townend could get injured before the race, and another jockey could have to be on the horse. All these sort of things can go wrong. They're not just pie in the sky, things that can't happen. They can happen. They probably won't, but they can. And then finally, the one who I really found it hard to throw stones at was Envoy Allen, who's been to the track twice. He's done the journey twice. And I think the thing with Envoy Allen is that even though he's beaten virtually nothing over fences, and he's done it well, you can't crab the form because he's won, but he's beaten nothing. But the problem is, I can't see anything that he's going to be running against at the moment. I can't put an Eclat de Rear in there. I can't put a horse like the big breakaway there and say, well, he could improve, because I can't, looking at that field, see a horse that could give Envoy Allen a race. I did see one in Chamblou, but Chamblou's gone and ran in atrocious ground at Sandown and ran himself into the ground where he was caught by Sporting John, and I think that'll bottom Chamblou. So now I'm looking at that race, hard to see a rival for Envoy Allen. But he's still got other things to get over to win. He's not having a solo lap of honour. Every horse that goes to Cheltenham is going to try. Every horse is there to win. There's no horse going to Cheltenham trying to get a handicap mark for another race. They're there to win because it's the pinnacle. It's the Olympics of racing, and that's why it's hard to win as well. You can't just think you're going to a top class racecourse for the pinnacle of the sport and you're going to get an absolute freebie. So even at 8 to 11, although he's the most likely one I'd put in an accumulator, he still isn't an absolute certainty, because there are no absolute certainties. Like I say, last season there were 6 of these and 5 got beaten. So just be careful, that's all I'm saying. I'm only playing devil's advocate. I'm not telling you they're not going to win, because of course I think most of them have the best chance in the race. That's why they're the price they are. But are they worth putting in big multiples? I don't think so myself. So I just wanted, after that, to talk about the bets I put up. But they were always put up there so people could judge me, so I could judge why I put the bets off, and I could look back on things. Now they have become a bit of a bane in my life, really, because now a lot of the times I'm looking at the bets, working out how to make a profit and how can I make the bank profitable, rather than just saying I'm backing this horse or I'm backing that horse. Because I used to watch other people's videos and they were saying they were backing this, and then I was thinking, well, they're not keeping track of how they're doing. But when I looked back at the mid-season videos with Gary and Andrew, I started seeing a trend, as in I feel under pressure to get a value bet out as well as a winner. So I'm not putting bets out unless I think they're absolutely certain to win. Or, well, not absolutely certain to win, but I think they're a very good chance of winning, but also that they're a value price. And when I looked back at the bets with Andrew and Gary, I noticed that because I wasn't under pressure, that the 15 bets I put up, and I'm going to read them out, because they're infinitely better than the 5 bets I put up, but the 15 bets I put up, then 4 of them were non-run or no bet, and all of those 4 are not going to run. So I'm only going to name 11 bets, but I'm going to give you the prices I put them up. Now, there are a couple of rubbish ones out, the 11, but I would say in the main, there's possibly 7 or 8 good bets out of the 11 when I'm not under pressure. So they were Shiskin, evens, Concertista, mares, 3-1, Galler to Menil, Ballymore, 10-1, the Big Breakaway, each way 16-1, Politolog, each way 6-1, Kilcrap, each way 10-1, Sham each way 14-1, Allaho, 10-1, Time Hill, 5-1, Fakira, Albert Bartlett, 25-1, and Album Photo, 7-2, Gold Cap. Now they are in a different level as a selection than what I've put up, the likes of Delvino, not even remotely close in the Solarina. Dame de Company, who doesn't look like going to the Mare's Chase, although I still think she'd have a chance. And of course, Gentleman's Game, who Mouse Morris in his infinite wisdom has decided isn't going to the Albert Bartlett after beating the first and second favourite last week, which is absolute craziness to me and screams of why he doesn't have many horses, and screams of, although he's had a great and illustrious past, why I think he's living in the 1990s rather than the 2020s, and I think that horse could possibly be another waiting patiently in the making. So yeah, I would love to know how many people actually backed the bets, and how many people, what people think about, should I just leave the bets off? Although I know I want to be judged on the bets. It's a very difficult, delicate situation, because I've always said that that's how I want to be judged. So, but if you look at the selections I've made, not under pressure, if you look at the eye catchers that have been put up that weren't put on the bets, like Brave Man's Game, Fakira, Rosie's Hollow, these are horses that were huge prices and they're now into almost favourites for the races. Gallard de Menil, Concertista was 6-1, I talked about her, raved about her, and now she's 11-8, but I don't have a bet on her. So yeah, any comments like that are welcome. I have to say that my viewers are unbelievably knowledgeable. I've never had anybody complain about selections. I've seen people actually question the selections because they fancy other horses, but that's normal and natural. But I've never seen people say, well, that is an absolutely terrible bet apart from the one. But he says everybody else's bets are terrible apart from his own. So we know that's going to happen. But yeah, in the main, the shrewd people that are watching these are absolutely beyond my belief. I've had owners, people from all sorts of walks of life. I just thought it was normal guys like me and caddies, but it certainly isn't. So yeah, it's a shrewd bunch that are watching these. And like I say, a lot of people have pushed me saying I should be asking for subscribers, etc. If you do want to subscribe, you can, but like I'm not going to be pushy about that sort of things. So I'd like to thank you for watching today. I may make a few more videos closer to Cheltenham. It may not just be once a week, maybe a little bit more. But anyway, have a great week. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back to you very soon. Bye for now.